Hello, one and all, and welcome to my weekly edition of my NXT review. Today we are going to be taking a look at what took place on last night's edition of NXT, that being the January 27th edition. Overall, my thoughts on this episode, I thought it was another good, solid episode of NXT. I enjoyed it from start to finish. There were some good matches that happened. Some storylines that were also progressed during the night, which is fairly the norm to say for NXT, on a weekly basis. So, if you haven't checked out NXT yet, and you're really missing out. This is really one of the most consistent wrestling products out there to watch, including, of course, Lucha Underground. And, so Wednesday nights are certainly the night for professional wrestling, what with NXT and Lucha Underground airing on the same night. Man, it's just a great 2 hours of wrestling to watch. So let's get into what took place on last night's edition of NXT. We kick things off with our opening match, the American Alpha, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable taking on Blake and Murphy. Overall, I thought this was a good opening contest with the right team going over of the American Alphas. Every time Chad Gable steps in that ring, he's just an amazing technical wrestler. You could just see the type of experience that he has, and the pairing between him and Jason Jordan, they're great. And hopefully with this win over Blake and Murphy, this is going to lead them on their journey to eventually winning the NXT Tag Team Championships. Probably, I would assume they would win them on NXT TakeOver Dallas. I feel like that would be the right time. You build them up to that spot and possibly have them face either Enzo and Cass or Dash and Dawson. Sorry about that. Maybe you could do a triple threat between all three of those teams. But the NXT tag team scene is definitely doing really good right now. And like I said, this match, Jordan, moving into the match, suffered a lot. He was trying to get that tag to, or not Jordan, Gable. He was in the match for a majority of it. Eventually tried to make that hot tag to Jason Jordan. He eventually was able to get it. And once he got that tag, Jordan eventually he went to work on everyone. And Jordan was able to put Blake into the corner, and they were able to hit their finisher on Blake for the win. So the right team went over here, and glad to see the new name for them, the American Alpha. I think I like it. The crowd was chanting it, so that's good to see. So like I said, good opening match, good way to set the pace for tonight's edition of NXT. After this, we had a backstage segment with Emma and Dana Brooke, and basically Emma said that she's going to face Carmella next week, who is the number one contender to Bayley's NXT Women's Championship, and that she's going to prove that Carmella basically winning that Battle Royale was just a fluke. It doesn't mean anything, and they're going to show her who, really basically should be the number one contender. Dana Brooke, pretty much her and Emma were being really arrogant and cocky about it, and Carmella versus Emma next week should be a good match. Looking forward to seeing it. Carmella probably will win that in order to continue her build her momentum to eventually facing her best friend Bayley. I'm not sure when that match is going to happen, but I'm also looking forward to seeing her square off against Bayley. Then we had Nia Jax take on Liv Morgan. This was Jax's return after we haven't seen her since NXT TakeOver London, which was roughly about a month and 2 weeks ago. So it was good to see Nia back. Eva Marie was at ringside with her, and Nia made fairly quick work of Liv Morgan. This was just a way to reassert Nia's dominance in the NXT women's division, and Nia was able to hit the sidewalk slam and then the leg drop on Liv Morgan to make quick work of her. Then we had Bull Dempsey make his way to the ring, and he was revealed to be facing the returning Alex Riley. We have not seen Alex Riley since spring of last year. I was always, a fan of Alex Riley. I thought there was some potential there, and, he became an announcer, then he came out, returned to the ring to face Kevin Owens, and he suffered I believe it was a knee injury. So it was good to see A-Rai back. And him and Dempsey had a relatively quick match. Riley was able to hit the knee to knee Dempsey in the jaw for the win. And during the match, he said something about, so this is what NXT has become. And later on, there was a backstage promo with Alex Riley. And basically he said, Sami Zayn had this big hyped up return and they're following, every waking moment of Apollo Crews. And yet nobody seems to care about Alex Riley's return. So it seems like we're getting in a more intense, aggressive, almost heelish Alex Riley, which I would be interested in. He sort of felt like he's been overlooked and nobody is really paying attention to when he would come back to the ring. So I like that backstage promo from Alex Riley. Good to have him back. And I'm interested to see where they go with him. So, Alex Riley is back. Then we had another quick match. It was Elias Sampson versus John Skyler. Nothing too much to say about this match. Just another quick, easy win for Elias Sampson. He was able to get the victory after hitting the running knee, followed by the neck breaker. Not sure how I feel about Elias Sampson at the moment. I need to know more about his character. Need to see him wrestle in longer paced matches before I get, feel for what type of what his potential is. Because I do see potential in him, with the loner drifter character. But I need to see more. And right now we're not really getting that. But hopefully in the weeks to come, we get to understand more about his character and to see him, like I said, wrestle in longer matches. But shout out to Sampson. He is from my hometown of Pittsburgh, so I hope he goes places on NXT. So we shall see in the weeks ahead. And then we had, this is a really, really good match. It was our number one contendership match for the NXT to determine who will face Finn Balor for the NXT Championship. It was Samoa Joe versus Baron Corbin versus Sami Zayn. And throughout the night, they were hyping this match up, and they played video packages for Samoa Joe, Baron Corbin, and they talked about Sami Zayn entering the Royal Rumble. So I liked how they did that. And before I talk about this match, something just popped up in my memory. There was a really good backstage promo, that Carmella cut about saying how she's not going to take the crap that Emma and Dana Brooke were saying about her. This took place earlier on in the night. And then Enzo and Cass basically called out Dash and Dawson. They cut another really good, intense promo. I like the intensity that Enzo, especially Enzo, he was on fire tonight. And Big Cass are displayed. They're not joking around. They're taking this seriously. They're sick and tired of Dash and Dawson. So they set up for that match eventually later on down the line. Looking forward to seeing those two teams square off again. So good promo. Had to make sure I mentioned that. So it was definitely a highlight of tonight's show. Getting back to the number one contendership triple threat match, this was just a really good triple threat match. When you put guys like Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, and even Baron Corbin, who isn't the greatest wrestler, but you put him in there with guys like this, man, they really worked a great triple threat match. Early on, it looked like Joe and Corbin were going to just team up and beat the shit out of Sami. But Corbin would punch Joe in the face, so that was a nice little swerve. And, Sami, he took a lot of punishment in this match, as to be expected between the two of the bigger guys. But Sami, was eventually able to get Joe and Corbin on the outside of the ropes, and he was able to, run over, through the top ropes and lay them out. So that was nice to see. Joe was eventually able to, lock Sami into the coquina clutch on the outside. And then, it looked like it was going to come down between Joe and Corbin. But Zayn was somehow able to, hit the Blue Thunder. It looked like he was going to get the number one contendership, but Corbin kicked out. And Joe was able to, he eventually got back into the ring, or later on into the match, walked right into End of Days. And I thought Corbin was going to win, but Sami somehow got back into the ring to break it up. Sami hit the haluva kick on Corbin, but Joe once again broke up the pinfall. So we had some good near fall action here. Just a really good triple threat match. Wasn't sure who was going to win it, but the way that this match went down at the end created some controversy and set up for what I'm assuming is we'll get to it. So Zayn locks Corbin into the sharpshooter, but then Samoa Joe runs back into the ring and he locks in the crossface, and Corbin taps, but the ref saw, I believe, Samoa Joe tap, but Sami Zayn had him locked in originally. So who was the one that made Baron Corbin tap? There was some controversy. The ref wasn't sure. William Regal comes down to ringside, and it basically states I'm going to have to look and review the tape. So a lot of controversy coming out of the ending of this. Who is going to be the number one contender for Finn Balor's NXT Championship? And the way that it's going to play out is, as we all know, they announced a Samoa Joe versus Sami Zayn match. So that's probably the match that they taped when they ran NXT tapings in that huge arena in Orlando. Not sure the name of it at the moment, but you know what I'm talking about. They taped that match. So that's probably the most likely outcome we're going to get. So overall, I enjoyed this episode of NXT. It was a good, solid episode. Good triple threat match. I'm giving this episode a B+. That is my grade for this week's episode of NXT. Let me know down in the comments section what you thought of last night's episode of NXT. What did you enjoy from it? What didn't you enjoy from it? So let me know down below so we can get some discussion going. Always appreciate that. Thank you all for watching this video. Please click that like and subscribe button for more video content coming to this channel. And with that, I am out. Peace.